Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is to get the cake tin ready. Important to get things ready before we start cooking. I'm going to get some baking paper. I'm going to do a collar for the outside of the cake, and then I'm going to then draw a circle and do a disc for the base of the cake. So the first thing we do is this collar. I can see the line, and I'm going to cut down that line carefully to form my collar. This wants to be deep enough to come at the sides of the tin. Okay, and then I'm going to fold this about 10 millimeters or so that I can then put some cuts into this to line the edge of the tin. I'm going to line this around the edge of the tin. I'm now going to cut a disc of paper to go in the base of the tin. So I'm going to draw around the cake tin with a pencil to get the correct size. And then I can then cut this out with a pair of scissors to line that. I'm just going to cut slightly inside of this circle by a couple of millimeters. That will allow for the measurement of the edge of the tin. This can now be then placed inside of the collar of paper we put in there, so the tin is now nicely lined. We've got 210 grams of self-raising flour. We've got 85 grams of semolina, 3 free-range eggs, 1 lemon, which we're going to use the zest of, 175 grams of unsalted butter, 175 grams of caster sugar. We've got 1 tablespoon of lavender flowers, and we've got 90 millilitres of semi-skim milk. I'm going to put the 90 millilitres of semi-skim milk into the pan. I'm going to pick out some lavender flowers, say approximately a tablespoon, and I'm going to let these infuse with the milk. I have washed these already, so I'm going to drop those into the milk. I'm going to heat that up, get a nice flavour with the infusion. I'm now going to turn the gas on over medium heat and infuse the milk together by warming it through with the lavender. Okay, this cake we're going to make with a creaming method. We're going to put some unsalted butter into the bowl, and I'm going to cream that with the caster sugar. To the unsalted butter, I'm going to add the caster sugar and cream this together. We could put the lavender inside the milk to infuse today. We could, as an alternative, have put some lavender inside the sugar here and pounded that together to get even more lavender flavour into our Elizabeth sponge. I'm going to start off by gently bringing this together with my spatula. Then I'm going to whisk this together to make it nice and light. Okay, I'm going to use an electric whisk to save a little bit of time today. Now that the butter and the sugar are nicely creamed together, I'm going to add my eggs to this. As I add the eggs, I'll add a little bit of flour, I'll add a bit of egg, a bit of flour, a bit of egg, so it comes together nicely. When we crack our eggs here, we use the back of a table knife and open them like a book into the bowl. By doing this, we can check there's no shell inside of the mixture, which wouldn't be very nice to eat inside of our Elizabeth sponge. We've got some lovely free-range eggs here. I'm going to whisk these up with a fork, beat them together. I can then begin to add this to our creamed butter and sugar mixture. So I'm going to add a small amount of egg. whisk this together. I'm going to add a small amount of flour to this. Whisk back again. A little more egg. A little more flour. And repeat the process until it's all nicely incorporated together with the egg. Now that's nicely mixed together, I can then fold into my mixture my self-raising flour. And then finally the semolina. Not forgetting the infused milk to go at the end. So the flour's going to go into there. And I'm going to very gently cut this through with my spatula to fold it in nicely. A nice smooth cake mixture. Semolina. Cut that into there. And now I'm going to add the lemon zest into the mixture. Just skim that on a microplane grater or an ordinary fine grater and mix through. It's nicely amalgamated in there. We're now going to add into that our infused milk. So pour the 90 ml of infused milk into here. It's that beautiful lavender scented milk. Cut that through. It's just going to soften the cake mixture a little bit more so it's not too heavy. Okay, this can now go into our prepared cake tin. So I'm going to spoon this into here. So when I've got a mixture in here, I am going to tap the tin down to get it nice and smooth inside of the tin. If we're using a different method of making cakes where we whisked the eggs, we wouldn't tap the tin down because we would then knock the air out of it. But today we can tap the tin down. So I'm just going to smooth this down with the back of my spatula. Get all that mixture in there. Then tap the tin down. Ready to go in the oven. The cake's going to go into a preheated oven at 170 degrees centigrade for a fan, or 180 for a non-fan oven. Today we've got a fan oven here, so we can use the bottom shelf because it's got nice even heat there. We're going to put this in the oven for about 35 minutes until it's ready and it's firm to the touch. We've now taken the cake out of the oven, out of the tin. It's been on a cooling wire for 10-15 minutes or so, so it's nice and cool. I can now cut this in half. So I'm going to cut this very carefully across the middle there, keeping my fingers out of the way, hold it with the palm of my hand, fingers right in the air, and very carefully watching where the knife goes to cut through there. Okay, we've now got 2 halves of cake. Okay, I'm now going to whip 150 millilitres of whipping cream. For this, you could alternate this and you could use some mascarpone with a little bit of cream. We've got a very nice lemon curd to go with this as well, which you could make at home. And So I'm not going to add any sugar or anything to the whipping cream because the lemon curd's really nicely balanced, so the sweetness is there against the sourness of the lemon. And that lemon curd's also going to complement the lemon zest that's inside of the cake with the lavender. So we're going to have a nice combination of flavours there, really nice. As you can see with the whisk, I'm lifting it in the air. It's almost creating a wave with the cream, which puts air into the cream, which means it will thicken much quicker. And we just want it nicely flocked, so it's just under whipped. So it's just a little bit soft. And often, when the cream starts to thicken, you can just slow down with the whisk, and you're looking for that nice dropping consistency off the whisk there. So it's just nice and soft still, not over whipped, just slightly under there. Okay, I'm now going to bring my cake back over and separate the two halves, keeping my top part separate. I can then spread onto the base here some of this lovely lemon curd. It's a really nice jammy consistency to this. So with my spatula I can then spread this out using the back of the spatula. You could use the back of a spoon if you wanted to. Just nicely cover the base of the sponge. Looking for any gaps there so it's nice and even. So that every mouthful that we eat gets a nice bit of the twangy lemon in there. And now for the cream. We can add the cream on top of that. So it's just nicely under there. It's not being whipped to a peak. It's just under, so it's just not quite holding its own shape. I'm popping all that into the middle there. I can then spread that out with my spatula very carefully. This time I'm going to leave about 10mm gap at the edge. Then when I sandwich the top of the cake onto the Elizabeth sponge, the cream will just ooze out slowly. Now for the top, back on there again. I can just gently press that down and you'll just see the cream start to come out there. To finish that off, a little bit of icing sugar. I'm going to dust that on the top. With icing sugar inside my fine sieve here, I can just tap the sieve very, very gently and get a nice light coating of icing sugar on there. I can now transfer this to a plate ready to serve. This is Jason, one of our chef tutors at the cooking school. I'm going to give you a bit of this lavender cake, the Queen Elizabeth one. See what you think. There you go, Jason.
Thank you very much.
I better try some as well.
You definitely get the lavender coming through. Is that lemon curd in there as well?
Mm. Nice balance though, it works
Yeah,
very
really
well,
nice,
doesn't it?
Nice and light.
And what better than a nice cup of tea at the end of the day?
Yorkshire tea, of course.
Yorkshire tea. Very nice.